Hi everyone, this is Paulo Haddad, and today I'm going to show you how to plot the voltage profile using py-dss toolkit. This is another video of our py-dss toolkit playlist here in YouTube. But before I start diving into the details of the voltage profile, I'm going to show you one thing I'm doing for you guys. So if you go to my website, paulohaddad.me, okay? If you go there, there is this tab, OpenDSS tools, and here we have py-dss toolkit. So what we have here, we have details of the tool itself, right? And here I have for each video that we have, I'm building this or still building it, right? So I don't have all of them, but let's say we go to the last one that I have. Here's gonna point you to the YouTube video, and then here I have the objective of the video. What was the key concept? The transcript summary, right? So I put here some topics that organizes the content, also Python examples, and final full transcript. So you may leverage it if you want to go directly into the details and what we discussed it in one, in each of the videos. So I think this is going to be a good resource. I also want to show you here, guys, that if you're looking for something in detail around OpenDSS and learn the basics and see from me most of the things I know about OpenDSS, I do recommend you look at my courses. But one thing I want to mention here is that we have a OpenDSS fundamentals course that's for free. You can enroll in that and start looking at that and learn from that. But also we have different courses, snapshot, py-dss interface, and then time series power flow simulations. And I think those are pretty good, very organized with a lot of examples. And as you can see, the way I teach here is based on demonstrations. So very, very, very valuable. I wish I had something like that when I was learning OpenDSS. But anyways, let's go back to our lesson today. So I'm going to talk about voltage profile, pretty much plotting voltage in the y-axis by distance in the x-axis, right? So to do that, let's just grab code that I have here for the other example, put it here. All right, and now what I can do, so here I have my 123 bus that we've been using for this tutorial, and then I'm gonna compile it, getting the coordinates, and then I'm gonna do power flow. Let's just solve it, okay? All right, so and then for getting the profiles, what we can do is pretty much plot profile. This is the command in OpenDSS, so you need to know that. So if I run this, let's run. And that's what we get. So OpenDSS then launches another tool called DSS View, and that is the software that plots that for us. One thing that we can notice here is that there is no results. And the reason is because we don't have the energy meter, right? Without the energy meter, there's no way for us to use OpenDSS to plot the voltage profile. So the first thing we need to do here is to find out where's the first element of my system and then add an energy meter there, okay? So, but remember, I showed it before in this tutorial that we can come here and use DSS tools, okay? And then we can go to model and we can add line in this source. So pretty much what I'm doing, I'm gonna go into my system, look at B source, which is the circuit element, and then I'm gonna disconnect it from the first element, right? Disconnect it, and then I place a small, very, very small line in there, okay? So now that I know the line that I'm placing there, I can add an energy meter in that line, and that will be, the first line of the system. So I can go here and add meter through. So all, the work you need to do, go into your model, find where is the circuit element connected to, and then find the element, and then add a meter. It's just one line of code. And that could be very complicated if maybe from your circuit you have multiple elements coming out of it. So which one you're going to select? So if you have, let's say, 10 systems that you need to use automation to put energy meters, so you need somehow put some automation, and I think this is what you need. Okay, so pretty nice. Now I have the meter there. I can run this. And as you can see, now I have the voltages, okay? The voltage profile, voltage, right, per unit, and then I have here distance in kilometers. Amazing. Now, I would say this is the first way. But you need to know here, the command, plot profile. If I go to OpenDSS, right, and here I go to question mark, and I go to plot, and in plot I go to phases. Those are the properties you could add in front of that. So let's say here, let's plot primary. Okay, I'm gonna close it. You could come here and use phases and add the different options I showed you. So again, if I go back there, all right, so I have different options. So I can run it. Pretty much I think it's gonna be the same plot because I don't think we have low voltages. So here's the something, right? Okay, so I would say this is the first option, just using text. The second option is gonna do the same thing. It's gonna use the DSS view of OpenDSS, and it will then plot the voltage profile for you. But the way to get into that is just like through the DSS tools, okay? DSS tools, and then you're gonna do DSS view. So I'm gonna use the view of OpenDSS, or the DSS view, if you will. And then in here, I'm going to say voltage profile. And then I also have the phases property, okay? And then here, I'm going to do primary, okay? All right, I'm going to just comment this so we don't run it. And here we go. All right, so here we have our voltage profile. But now, instead of using the DSS command, we are leveraging the DSS tool. It's just a wrapper around the command. So if you go to this command, you're gonna see, yeah, it's pretty much like, using the OpenDSS. So I'm gonna comment this. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go here and then say DSS tools. And then instead of using DSS view, I'm gonna use the static view. So when I was doing it, it was like, hey, many times we want to have figures to put in our reports, but it's the profile that comes from DSS view is not nice. So how about we create some structure around, let's say, matplotlib that does that for us, and that's what we have here in the static view. So you can come here and say voltage profile. So if you just run this line, just one line of code, if I run it, it's going to plot for me this, okay? So here you can see the same voltage profile that we had before. We have here the limits in red, 105, which comes from OpenDSS, 095, those are the norm, Vmax, PU, and norm, vmean per unit properties. If you have questions, just let me know. And those are the phases like node 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I put here some information so that helps you. Voltage is in per unit, and then distance in kilometer, the same thing we had in OpenDSS. But here I give you guys two ways to change this plot. One way is you have different properties in this method. So I could change here, let's say, the title, the labels, the limits. I could change the size of the marker, and then I'll show you what I mean by process marker. I'll do an example with you. I can decide to show voltage limits that 105 and 095. There are other options here, the legend and the P. So there are options that we can explore here, okay? So I'll keep this simple for today. If you have questions, you want to see more example, we can talk about later. But let's just say that I want to change title. So I can type the property name, or I can just like put in order, so it doesn't matter. So I would say my profile. Maybe I will change then the line marker to 10 and see. Let's see how that changes. So you can play around and see how that changes. So like, give me 1 second here. So now it's my profile, and the markers are bigger. That's it. You see that? All right. So this is one example that you can kind of change the statics of the plot. Okay. Another thing we can do here, and that's how I decided to organize that for you. So we can go DSS tools, and then it is going to make sense for us. So it's going to be static, and then in here I have the voltage profile plot style. Okay. So in here, you're going to have a lot of properties, and those are pretty much properties from matplotlib. So I could say here, I could come here and access grid. I don't want that. I don't want to have it. Okay. I can come here and maybe just to make it a little faster. All right. So what else we have here? We can change colors, right? So let maybe label size. Play around. So let's put like 20, right? So I can kind of play with it, change a few things here and there. What else? Maybe, yeah, there's a lot of things like location. So you can say here maybe 0. I guess it works. So you might need to go to matplotlib documentation to get that. But you see the second way to put some flexibility here. And then now when I plot it, right? So I'm just gonna plot it. I'll comment this so it doesn't bother me now. All right. So we don't have the grid. The labels are a little, the label size are 20. The best location that it found was here. So you see that you have the flexibility to change through the properties of the method, but also the properties of matplotlib. Okay. So one thing I want to also show you here that's very nice, I think, is the voltage. Let me get here. All right, so let me actually build it with you. So let's say I want to which bus 160R. So I'm going to do here DSS tools. Okay. And I'm going to go to static. That's where we are. And then here I'm going to do voltage profile get bus marker, right? So yes, that's it. All right, so here's the properties. My goal now is, okay, I'm going to add a marker into my plot. So I'm going to say the name of the marker is the bus name. So actually, let me see here. Let's do it. So name is equal 160R period. What else I'm gonna do here? And marker name, I can give the marker name if I wanted to, right? So marker name, so it's gonna be how I show in the plot. Let's say my bus, okay? And then color, I think it's gonna be red, whatever. So and then here I'm gonna add show legend. Okay, so I'm gonna add that in the legend. So okay, so here I have a bus marker. Okay, so I'm gonna bus 160. Okay, I think that's okay. And then what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go and then do DSS tools, and then in here there's a bus marker. Okay, and it should get a list, so I could add multiple buses markers. Okay, so but in this case I'm gonna just add one, but it should be in a list. Okay, so and this is going to be the bus I want. I could give more, option, more buses if I wanted to. And then in here I'm gonna just comment this, and then now let's run it. Okay, so now you see there is an X, my bus, right, in the legend because I asked it that, and then it's in here. So I could say, well, maybe the color orange, maybe. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that just okay. So let's run again. So now it's orange, and then it's here in my legend. Okay, so this is the second way, which is pretty much using the static view. And I recommend you guys look at that and explore it. If you have problems or have suggestions, please let me know. I try to make it as flexible as possible, and that by combining things you can directly change in the parameters here, or the properties, but also allow you to use the matplotlib like options. One thing I want to show you. Remember that I mentioned that when you don't have the meter, when you use OpenDSS, it doesn't show anything. There's a very cool feature in py-dss-toolkit that I'm trying to keep, is that when you run something like, I need a profile, right? But that needs an energy meter. When I don't have the energy meter, I raise an error. So I made it, one energy meter should exist to plot the voltage profile. One energy meter should exist to plot, this is the error that I put here. So can help you. Okay, I need the energy meter. So now py-dss-toolkit, and that's my idea, is that it kind of provides you guidance on what to do. Okay, amazing. Finally, I have the fourth option. And all right, so what was the story here? Okay, the first option, just like leverage OpenDSS really quickly to look at the profile and have an idea, and then okay, let's maybe wrapper it around Python so people can access easily. They don't need to know the command. Number 3 is pretty much, hey, I want to really put in a report. So how can I do that? And then before I go here, actually, there is one thing I want to mention. If you want to put in a report, you're going to find out that you have here save figure path. You can give the exactly where you want to save it, okay? And therefore, you can then later just put in your report. Amazing. Number 4. Now, the other one is like, hey, I want to interact with it. I want to interact with the profile and understand what's going on. So to do that, I then added DSS tools. Okay. And then I'm going to have interactive view. And then here I can have voltage profile. Okay. So I can run this guy. Oh yeah, energy meter should exist for sure, of course. Yeah. So very good, very good. All right, so that was nice. All right, so I can go here and then it's going to open. Oh, when I do that, there's one. Because it's open the browser, you should go here and say show true. I'll explain it later as well, but here we go. And it's gonna open here for me a profile that I can interact with and see results. Number of the bus, name of the bus, the voltage, right? I can play with it, the distance from the meter, right? And then here I can like just see maybe node 3. That's what I want to see. Okay, so it's the interactive option. Again, just one line of code, and the principles I just mentioned about the static is here. I can come here and then Control P, you're gonna see the different parameters I have, okay? And you can change those. Also, you have the idea of come here, DSS, tools, then interactive view, then voltage profile get bus marker. Not that one. I want to show you actually plot style first, and then in here you have several options that are for the plotly. We are using plotly as the way to plot those figures. So you can come here and say grid color. Maybe, I don't know, maybe orange. So you need to look at the documentation of Plotly, okay? So, but anyways, I give you kind of directions. And as you can see, it's very organized. I'm looking at voltage profile, right? And the interactive view. So here's the style. What else? So just so we can see things changing. Yeah, there's so many things here that you can explore and, show legend. Maybe I don't want to see. Let's see if that works. Okay, so if I run it, yeah, it doesn't show. It's orange. Amazing. It's beautiful, guys. So I'm so excited because I learned a lot by creating a tool for users, right? So being someone that knows OpenDSS is one thing, but then when you think of how a user would use it, then things can get a little more complicated, and I try to be as organized as possible when doing this. So one thing I want to show you is the markers. So the same idea here, I can go here, let's say DSS tools interactive, and then I'm gonna go something marker, buzz markers, okay? And then so it's, there are different options because Plotly is a little different than Matplotlly, but essentially mark name, show legend, and color. So pretty much those guys are the same. Okay, so I'm gonna just grab those. I want to see the legend, and then in here I'm gonna go here, right? So they are very similar, the static and the interactive. So maybe buzz marker and then a list. Don't forget it, okay? 160. Now let's run it. Yeah, so you see here, my bus, it's also in the legend. So I can come here and see it, right? So pretty good. One thing I want to show you here is that you saw that for interactive view, the show was true, and for so all was false. I need to put true to see the results, right? For the Matplotlly, it's actually true. Okay, so show. Actually, let me put here. You're gonna see it's true by default. You see that? Okay. Now you could make it false. Okay. And then another thing that I want to show you is that you could save it in a variable, right? So maybe static, and then let me print the type of this guy, okay? So I don't want to see you now for a second. I just want to see the type, okay? So it's not going to plot anything. Oh, no type. Why is no type? Because I don't think I'm returning. So maybe I will work later, and then I will return the object. So when I return the object, pretty much what you can do, you can work with the object. So this is something I'm going to do, but at the same idea. So we will improve that. So now if you get this, so this doesn't work for now, but I will work and make sure it will in the future. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you have, let's say, the interactive view, but you want to kind of have a full flexibility. So let's save it plot profile, okay? I can come here now and then print what is the type of the profile. If I do that, it's gonna show here for me. I didn't ask for that, but it's a polygraph object figure, okay? So you could get the object. So maybe I would just do false here, okay? You could get the object, okay? And do things yourself. So if I run now, you see that it's not gonna show anything because it did false. But now, since I have the object, I could go and then I think so you see here, dot. Those are everything from Plotly associated to that type of object. So I can go here and do show, okay? So if I run now, it's gonna show it, okay? Which means you could now take it and enhance it the way you want. You have the object with all the data and everything, so you can add your own stuff. So if you think about how flexible it is, properties, then the package itself, and then you can get the object and change it. So for the static, I will work on that, and I will update the py-dss toolkit. By the way, make sure you update it often because I've been changing as I'm doing this tutorial. But like I said, guys, I think everything I want to show you is here, the 4 different ways to look at the voltage profile and show you how easy it is by leveraging py-dss toolkit. And remember, we are in the Python world, so things are more, maybe I would say, familiar, okay? That's all I need to tell you in this lesson, this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much.